everyone, I am Penner Natalia Alexandrovna, Senior Lecturer of Foreign Languages and Literature Department of Saktaglan Bayshev University. Today we're going to speak about teaching productive skills. So, productive skills, teaching, speaking, listening and writing. At the lecture, we are planning to discuss the following questions: roles of writing in the learning skill, in learning and use of language, writing as a skill, difficulties people have in learning and to write English, stages in the development of writing proficiency, how to teach writing, the content of teaching speaking in English and in foreign language, techniques for teaching speaking. In many ways, writing is the most neglected skill in the world of teaching English or any foreign language, as many teachers don't like to see the classroom hours devoted to what is often quiet time. So many teachers prefer some activities when the students are involved, and sometimes it's very noisy, but as for writing tasks, really it's quite activity. And some of the teachers believe that they waste time, simply waste time on it. Writing, therefore, is often relegated to homework, which is frequently not done. What happens? We usually give the task to the students and they don't do it. But in reality, writing, that is a productive skill which comes from reading, from listening, and we need to develop it. In many ways, writing is the most difficult skill, requiring a greater degree of accuracy. When speaking, any misunderstanding can be cleared up on the spot, whereas in writing, when something is misunderstood, you need to meet this person and to ask some questions, and you need some time and a chance to do it. So there are four basic skills in any language: receptive skills, reading and listening, and productive skills, speaking and writing. Our goal as the teachers of foreign language to make this transformation from receptive skills to productive skills. Communication between people is a very complex and ever-changing thing, but there are generalizations that we can make which have particular relevance for the teaching and learning languages. When two or more people are communicating with each other, we can be sure that they are doing so for one of the following reasons. They have some communicative purpose, they want to say something, they want to listen to something, they're interested in what is being said, and therefore, if a teacher wishes to introduce a communicative activity to the students, he or she should bring in a number of the mentioned factors. The teacher must create the need and desire in the students to communicate. If these factors are not present, it is far less likely that the activity will be the success the teacher had investigated. If the students don't see the point in doing something, they are far less likely to want to participate. What is the difference between accuracy and fluency? Accuracy activities are concentrated on producing correct language. Such activities are usually controlled to ensure accurate reproduction of the language. Fluency activities are concentrated on allowing the student to experiment and be creative with the language. We are less concerned with the accuracy and more concerned with the effectiveness and flow of communication. That means communication without stumbling, mumbling, without this sounds like and so on. Speaking activities in the classroom. Control activities. Accuracy-based activities, language is controlled by the teacher. Drilling, choral and individual listening to and repetition of the teacher's model of pronunciation. Guided activities, another type, accuracy-based but a little more creative and productive. So the teacher gives the activity, the task, and the students do it, but the teacher observes and works as a guide. So the next one, model dialogues, guided role play. All these two types are dialogues and model dialogues when the students are given the model and they need to reproduce according to the model, and guided role play when the students are given the situation and they need to act as it is given. Creative communication, fluency-based activities. You see, control activities, drilling, guided activities, model dialogues, guided role play, they are based on accuracy. As for creative communication activities, they are based on fluency. The scenario is usually created by the teacher, but the content of the dialogue isn't, and it's upon the students to decide what to say and how. Free role plays, discussions, debates, simulations, and communication games. How to encourage students to speak? Many students can seem reluctant to speak in the classroom. This can be for a variety of reasons, including lack of confidence. So it is connected with the lack of practice. Fear of making mistakes. Yes, that is a kind of psychological barrier that we need to help our students to overcome. So that is the fear of making mistakes. Peer intimidation. Lack of interest in the topic. Previous learning experience which was not so successful. Cultural reasons. The teacher must try to overcome these challenges and problems and encourage students' interaction. The aim should be to create a comfortable atmosphere, really psychological aspect, where students are not afraid of to speak or make mistakes and enjoy communicating with the teacher and their fellow students. So if you remember in one of the lectures I told that any activity must be fun, and the students really get the feeling of satisfaction and pleasure from participating in any activity. Techniques to encourage interaction. That is peer work, group work, plenty of controlled and guided practice before fluency activities. The students must have some practice. Create a desire and need to communicate, change classroom dynamics, careful planning. With certain activities, you may need to allow students time to think. Really, with any activity, you need to allow the students some time to be prepared. Guidelines for a free creative speaking activity. Before the lesson, decide on your aims, what you want to do and why. Try to predict any problems, that is, anticipate the problems and how you will solve them if they appear. Work out how long the activity will take and tailor to the time available, time management. And prepare any necessary materials. Work out your instructions. Everything must be clear to the students. What to do during the activity? Try to arouse the students' interest through relating to the topic to the students' interest and experience. Leave any structure or vocabulary students may need on the board for reference, or maybe to prepare some cards for the students to have a kind of visual support. Make sure that students know the aim of the activity by giving clear instructions and checking understanding. It's very, very important. When you give instructions, first of all, instructions must be short and clear. And after giving instructions, all the time you need to check if the students understood what you plan them to do. Make sure students have enough time to prepare. For this, you need to know their level of of language proficiency, and make the activity more a process rather than a product. Monitor the activity with no interruptions, except to provide help and encouragement if necessary, and evaluate the activity and the students' performance to give feedback. It's very important for the students to know what the results of his or her work are. And wait until after the activity has finished before correcting mistakes. After the activity is finished, provide feedback. It's very important, and we have spoken about it. Include how well the class communicated. Focus more on what they were able to do rather than on what they couldn't do. Don't speak about negative things. Sometimes you can record the activity for discussion afterwards. And as for recording the activity, it's very useful, especially if you give the students the chance to watch the recording by themselves, not to be afraid of being criticized. Note down repeated mistakes and group corrected. Individual mistakes are corrected individually. Writing skills. Writing text has quite a number of differences which separates it from speaking. It's productive skill. Not only are there differences in grammar vocabulary, but also in spelling, layout, and punctuation. Despite these differences, many of these factors are as those for speaking need to be considered and incorporated. Spelling. Incorrect spelling can not only create misunderstandings, but also can often be perceived by the reader to reflect a lack of education. So spelling must be taken very, very seriously. A single sound in English or in any language can be written in many different ways. So there's a very interesting proverb saying that says, you see the written, it is written Manchester, but is read Liverpool. Yes, as for particularly English, so it may be one letter when we pronounce the word, sound when we pronounce the word, but several letters when we write this word. Incorrect. So layout and punctuation. Again, the students must be taught how to organize their written paper. So there must be introduction, main part, and conclusion. And punctuation. Punctuation plays a very important role for understanding what the writer wanted to tell us. So creative writing. Many of the same principles need to be applied to writing activities as speaking activities. Creative writing should be encouraged as it engages the students, and the finished work usually provides them in the sense of pride. Creative writing needs some time and needs a lot of preparation. Remember, progress in writing a foreign language is possible on condition that pupils have adequate preparation for writing. So, of course, this topic is very, very vague, and we need a lot of time to discuss it in details, but you can read additional information in the list of literature that is given on the slide. And in this case, I am sure that you will be very successful when teaching the students, when organizing, preparing them to write, to speak, and to do all the productive activities at the lesson.